the numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11, 11,
and most of
11,
the
and
amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
You're listening to Binnall of America Audio.
Most blokes are going to be playing at 10. What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to
11.
You were the first woman in Turkish ufology. Since you've come along, has there been other Turkish women come along, or are you still sort of the lone wolf, no pun intended?
You know what? I am not very sure because as now I'm living in Turkey, I'm not living in Turkey as I'm living in the United States. I don't have very much contact. So it is difficult to give you a specific answer in this.
Okay.
But on the web, I can see there are lots of forums. There are lots of chat groups.
Yeah.
In UFOs, but these are the UFO fans. I mean, I see girls' names, of course, I mean, because they are reading the books they are interested in. But professionally, anybody who wrote a book or made a television show, as far as I know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know.
Okay. Now, you've sort of mentioned a couple times here UFO landings. Now, that's pretty rare as far as I know here in America, but it sounds like it happens a lot in Turkey. Talk a little bit about these UFO landings and some of the circumstances around them and whatever you can tell us about that, because it sounds interesting.
Well, again, in 1980s, in the same area, in Cappadocia area, we started to have mass sightings. So it took only 1 year, every month. And most of the times, people were getting together in the night, and they were waiting for the UFOs.
Yeah.
And UFOs were coming. And first the first one was coming up. Then their number was 3, 5, 10, 20, and they were counting. Witnesses were counting until 100, 180.
Wow.
Yes. And in one case, and these are reports by the journalists, by the reporters of the newspapers. Everything is in newspapers, I mean. I guess they had a kind of close encounter with one of the UFOs, and the UFO was started to getting lower a little bit over a hill. Mm-hmm. And there was a group of people from the town, policemen and teachers, the journalists, and they decided to turn on and off their flashlights at the same time to make a sign-off to the UFO, and they decided they started to do it. And UFO gave them a reaction and answer, responded, turning off and on their lights, its light.
Wow.
But this wasn't a landing.
Okay.
This was a kind of close encounter communication.
Yeah.
Because that UFO suddenly got disappeared. In another case, this report belongs to a taxi driver. So he was going back to home in a late evening, and on the right side of the road, suddenly he saw an object, and he thought that it was a van.
Yeah.
It was a truck. But he thought that maybe there was an accident because it was an isolated area. These things are not in the city, of course, out of the city, far from the city. So he decided to stop and ask, do you need help, whatever? So he stopped his car, he got outside, and what he saw wasn't a van, wasn't a cab. It was a huge egg. A huge egg-shaped object, but in the size of a cab or a van.
Yeah.
So he said, this is not a cab. And in the moment he had this thought, the egg-shaped object started to elevate itself slowly first, and it was, emanating light, a huge light. So when it was rising up, the light was getting stronger. In one point, the taxi driver couldn't look at it anymore because it was so bright. And suddenly, with a huge speed, it got disappeared in the sky.
Wow.
And so many incidents like this. So, of course, there are close encounters with humanoids, that kind of stuff. It's happening. I mean, you know what? I'm thinking that if we were alone in the universe, if the Earth was the only planet with intelligent beings, and the cosmos and the universe, this would be a huge punishment to human beings.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine a universe without life on other planets.
Yeah.
So now we know the truth, and it is very logical. The rest is to share it, and to understand it.
Now you say there's not much, if any, abduction research in Turkey. Have you done any research into abductions in Turkey? And
I cannot, because I'm not a certified hypnotherapist.
Yeah.
I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a surgeon. So all I can do is to interview people or listen their stories.
Yeah.
Or to take photographs if they have scars or strange marks on their skin. But this is not an investigation.
Okay.
This is just gathering the reports.
Yeah. And then based on those reports and the information that you have on Turkish abductions, are there any significant differences or similarities with American abductions?
Well, similarities are a lot.
Yeah.
People are having the very, very similar experiences.
Yes.
Everything is the same, and they can describe you the same looking type aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And as I told you before, in my family there are abduction cases.
Yeah.
And when I speak with my cousins who have they have visited many, many times, they are telling me the same stories that I generally listen here in New York City in some abduction meetings.
Yeah.
But again, they have no chance to come here and to meet with an abduction researcher. Mm-hmm. And we cannot take a famous abduction researcher to Turkey because we don't have money. We cannot do that. So everything depends on the money.
Yeah. So
when there is no money, there is no abduction. In a way.
Yeah.
It stays as a family story.
Yeah. You say your grandfather's abduction, that the beings were sort of reptilian.
Yeah.
What is there any consensus on the being types as far as people's encounters with them in Turkey? Are they reptilian, Nordic, gray, all of the above?
Well, most of the grays and humanoids.
Yeah.
Human-looking visitors, let's say. Mm-hmm. Not completely human, but if you want, call them Nordics.
Yeah.
But grays, 100%. A lot.
Okay.
A lot. And we have some Men in Black cases too.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that?
It happened in late, I guess, in 1980s in a very small town. And the witness, or the victim, was a teacher, the town's teacher. He was living alone in a very tiny house. And one night he was visited by 3 men. Completely strangers. He never met them before, and they were wearing all black, typical.
Yeah.
And they said that they were traveling and they needed to stop. And he invited them inside. In Turkey, this is a tradition. When somebody comes to visit you, as a courtesy, you invite them inside to offer some tea, Turkish. In fact, it's a very dangerous habit because you never know who are you inviting in.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so they came and they sit in the living room. In fact, I guess it was only one living room, one bedroom, such a tiny place. So the owner of the house, the teacher, went to the kitchen to prepare tea. And he spent only 3 minutes, maybe less, in the kitchen. When he came back, the guys were gone. And he looked all over. They weren't anywhere. I mean, there wasn't anywhere.
Yeah.
And he didn't hear the door opened and closed. In such a tiny place.
Yeah.
So he went outside. He saw a little girl, neighbor's girl, was playing outside. He asked her, "Did you see 3 men?" She said, "Yes, I saw them." And she pointed out the corner of the street. They looked, and what they saw were 3 black dogs.
Dogs?
Yes, barking.
Yeah.
And they suddenly got disappeared.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, in Turkey also, as part of the tradition, we believe in paranormal visitors, and we call them jinns.
Jinns?
Genie, jinn.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's a part of our tradition. It's a part of our Turkish lifestyle in many ways.
Yeah.
So, in a very short term, I think Turkish people used to call aliens jinns.
Yeah.
So, jinn and alien is the same thing, because we also have a belief that little children are generally abducted by the jinns in the nighttime. Jinns abduct them from their bed, from their bedrooms, and they take them somewhere in the night, and they bring them back in the morning. And when the little child, 3 years old, 5 years old, younger than 8, 7, and the next morning, child has a black color substance, a paint, on his or her hands and body.
Really?
And I saw this. I saw this with my own eyes. And as we know, after many abduction cases, abductee finds a brown color substance on the body, on the skin.
Yeah.
And sometimes on the clothing.
Huh.
So, what we called visits of the genies, I think they were visits of the extraterrestrials. And this is a phenomenon that still is happening in Turkey.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something modern. What I saw was in 1980s, that brown color substance. It is not 5,000 years ago.
And what did you like feel this brown substance? Did you smell it? Was there? I mean, what were the characteristics of this brown stuff?
It is. Do you know henna?
Vaguely.
Henna. It's brown color. In India, they make designs.
Yeah.
In your palms.
Okay.
It's a kind of tattoo. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Henna is a plant-based substance.
Yeah.
To make that kind of designs in your palm. So it looks like a henna. It is brown, and it's a little bit sticky, and it is very difficult to wash it off. For instance, when the child wakes up in the morning, wakes up with that substance in both hands. Why in hands, I don't know. And it doesn't go off all day. How much you wash, it doesn't go off. But in Turkey, they say, oh, okay, it was genes. It was genies. So, okay, don't worry about it. They don't care.
Wow.
Yes, it is accepted. I'm telling you, there are no secrets there.
Strange.
There is nothing to hide.
Do these kids that get taken, do they ever say where they went or what happened? They don't remember or what?
Well, there are many cases, of course, and some of them remember. Some of them talk about the visitors who come from the closed windows inside of the room. Yeah. And it is interesting, at the beginning of our conversation, I mentioned the wolf as a symbol or as a shape-shifting image. Yeah. So we know that in abduction cases, Greys or reptilians or Nordics, whoever they are, they use the images that you know. Yeah. For instance, if you are interested in angels, you see an angel, but it's a shape-shifting. It is not an angel. Yeah. Or if you are interested in cats, you see a cat. If you are interested in deers, you see a deer. So it depends on what images, what information has the little child. What does a little child know? Generally knows the tales, okay? Mm-hmm. A little child reads Snow White and the 7, what is that, midgets? Dwarfs. Yeah. Yes. So child says that 3 dwarfs came into my room. Yeah. Because this is the image that she knows. Mm-hmm. or if it's a scary image, child can say that I saw the witch of Snow White, you know, the tale Snow White's stepmother, the witch. She came and played with me or made me cry last night, something like this.
Wow.
So whatever you have in your subconsciousness, they appear to you under this image. And of course, it is not the real image.
Yeah. I wanted to reference one of the articles that I read that you wrote about the Scarlet Woman.
Oh, yes, yes.
Because that kind of ties in here with the with these abductions and that sort of thing, and these contact and weird sort of interaction. Can you talk about the tradition of the Scarlet Woman in Turkey? Is that still going on today?
Yes, it is still. Of course, it comes from the past, but still in some villages in remote areas of Turkey, it is still it's going on. So they believe that there is a creature. It shows itself like a horrible-looking woman, and generally it wears red. That's why it is called Scarlet Woman, Scarlet Lady.
Yeah.
And they describe this woman with long teeth and very long nails. It's a kind of vampire style.
Yeah.
And what she does is to attack the newborn babies, and at the same time to attack their mothers, young mothers, basically to get something from them.
Yeah.
This may be their life or their blood or their energy, spiritual energy. There are two possibilities, spiritual vampirism or normal classical vampirism.
Yeah.
Spiritual vampires or classical vampires. And Scarlet Lady also is a big enemy of the horses. So attacks the horses and eats the internal organs of the horse. So cattle mutilations.
Yeah.
Horse mutilations.
Yeah.
So this was a concept in Turkey in the past, and still it is a big fear in Turkey today. But I mean, of course, not in the cities, in the remote areas, in the rural areas. Still today, they feel obligated to protect their animals against these creatures.
Wow.
Still today, it's happening.
You're talking about how it's really open in Turkey and how people are more open to the UFO enigma and all these other elements of the paranormal. But you've come to America. Why did you leave this wonderful place where UFOs are okay and to come to a place where UFOs are lame? Here in America, UFO studies is marginalized, and sounds like you were going pretty well over there in Turkey.
Well, but remember one thing. We have the best investigators in this country. We have the best investigators, so which means a lot to me. So being here gives me the opportunity to share the same conferences, same meetings with them. I have been interviewing many well-known names in UFO community since I came.
Yeah. And
I had the opportunity to be a conference speaker in 2005 in NUFOC, National UFO Conference. So, and also this year I will be speaking in Aztec in March. And there are so many cases also here to investigate, such as UFO crashes, close encounters, and being here ufologically in many other ways, it's a big pleasure for me.
Yeah.
So I also believe that you can learn in your country, but traveling teach you more than everything. Traveling and meeting new people, going to new places, it is a big school.
Yeah.
So staying in the same spot doesn't teach you a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's why I really believe in the power of moving ahead, going to new places, meeting new people. This is very important.
Yeah.
Professionally.
Now, have you looked at the UFO culture around other parts, the countries around Turkey? Is it sort of the same, or are they a little bit different, or, because, like, we have an understanding here in America, kind of what's going on in Canada and Mexico and that kind of thing. What about the region around Turkey?
Now, remember one thing, that in our neighbor countries, On the west are Balkans.
Yeah.
Greece and Balkan countries, I mean, Central European countries.
Mm-hmm.
Not Greece, but Central European countries were in war in the last almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So what we heard from Bosnia, from Kosovo, were only war news.
Yeah, yeah.
Even, I mean, if they had a mass UFO sighting and landing every day, they wouldn't care.
Yeah.
So the real life, the real war didn't let them to see the sky because they were trying to save their life.
Yeah.
So it was impossible. On the other side, Middle East, we know what's happening there.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody thinks about UFOs.
Yeah.
So in that way, Turkey is the only area that we have the real UFO records and information about some sightings and events. So that's the situation.
Okay. One thing I wanted to ask you about that gets sort of passed around here in America a lot regarding your part of the country, and that's Mount Ararat and the potential for it being the resting place of Noah's Ark. Is that just a folk tale that gets passed around here in America? What do you guys think of that out in Turkey? Is that laughed about out there, or is it actually thought about as possibly real?
Now, there are some people, some investigators, they really believe that the Ark is there.
Yeah.
The rest of the Ark is there. But when you think about the history, when you look at the different mythological stories from different ages,
mm-hmm.
there are so many floods.
Yeah.
And there are so many stories, just like Noah's story.
Yeah.
So which one was the real? Which one are we looking for?
Yeah.
To me, there is no Ark there.
Okay.
But again, I have never visited there. I never traveled there.
Yeah.
So maybe saying this, I'm making a mistake. Maybe there is. So I have to keep my mind open.
Yeah.
So if there is, and if somebody finds it, I'm going to be very happy.
Of course.
But my intuition, my inner voice says that there isn't. To me, that is, again, Noah's Ark wasn't made of the wood.
Yeah.
It was metal.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I figured I'd ask you because, Mount Ararat is in Turkey, so you know better than I would at least. What about people in Turkey? Do they think that, or is that sort of just like the general public? Well, it
depends. The traditional people, of course, says that, yes, it is a real thing, and one day somebody is going to find it.
Yeah.
And moderate people say that maybe. Imagine Istanbul was Byzance, Constantinople,
mm-hmm.
in the past, before Ottomans. And still, in some specific areas of the city, is full of monuments from the Byzantine times.
Yeah.
We have a monument, and people say that it is linked to some underground rooms. Again, the monument is linked underground room. And there is the wood pieces from Jesus Christ's cross who died on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are so many stories.
It sounds like it, yeah. You touched on your work here with TLC's Dead Tenants. How did you get involved with this program, and tell people a little bit about it and talk about TLC's Dead Tenants and how it came about?
When I first came here, of course, I contacted with paranormal ghost hunting societies, groups.
Yeah.
And one of them, PRS, is located in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I live in New Jersey, too. It's very close to me. So we started to go to investigations all together as a group because people claim that they have ghost activity in their houses and they are not happy about it.
Yeah.
So we decided we started to work together as a team. And then our group leader got a phone call from some producers who wanted to make a television show for TLC.
Oh, wow.
And they wanted to meet us. We got together and we met them, and they interviewed us on camera.
Yeah.
And later we forgot that because 1 year passed.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And then again, they called us and they said, we decided to make the show with you. We said, okay. And in the summer months, we started to shoot the episodes. It was about the real ghost hunting experiences, real families, real houses. So I was in only 5 episodes, I guess, because as we were a crowded team, not everybody was in every show.
Yeah.
So we were shifting.
Yeah.
And we really investigated very, very good episodes, very good cases. And the show was based on our investigation as a psychic medium.
Mm-hmm.
But before we go to the location, we weren't allowed to get any information from the family.
Yeah.
So we didn't know anything about the backstory. So we were doing our psychic research separately and independently in every room, and we were describing what we see, what we feel in front of camera.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, it may be, I can see here there is an old lady with a little child sitting and trying to communicate me, this kind of things.
Yeah.
And then we were describing what we saw to a painter, to an artist, just like in police artists.
Yeah.
They describe the guy's pictures, how do you say them?
Suspect.
Suspects, yes. So the artist was making a portrait based on our description.
Yeah.
And at the end of the show, we were showing those portraits to the house owners.
Yeah.
They were saying, yes, this person was my great-great-uncle. He killed himself in that room.
Oh, wow.
Or this person was my child. We lost her or him when he was 2 years old. That kind of things.
Yeah.
And we also had a historical researcher. He was doing the historical research about the location, about the first owners, who built the house 200 years ago, or who was the first owners, who lived there, the names, the dates. So we were giving confirmations to the family. So this was the show.
Awesome. And when did did you tape that last summer or?
In 2005.
Okay, and when did the shows air? This past year? Or?
It was aired in 2005 and 2006. And then after United States, it was aired, including in Turkey, in my native country, this year. And in some countries, in Canada, England, India, in Europe, because they have, I guess, agreements. It was Discovery. So Discovery sells the same shows to all over the world.
Awesome.
Other Discovery channels, yes. It was a good show. It was a good experience, most of all.
Yeah.
In parapsychological side, yes, it was a good experience. I really enjoyed it.
And are you guys planning on, are they going to make any more episodes of
Yes, it may be. Of course, it may be.
Yeah, you'll be waiting another year here. You never know, right?
Different concepts, different cases.
Yeah.
It may be, of course. It's possible, of course.
And now you said you're working on your 5th book for your Turkish publishers.
Yeah, Turkish publishers.
For starters, are there any chances are your books in Turkey going to come over to America and be translated for American readers, English readers, or is that not going to happen?
I'm not planning, because I'm planning to write a book for American readers.
Awesome.
Because, as you know, I'm writing in UFO magazine every month.
Yep.
So there are articles in my column.
Mm-hmm.
And also I am a program producer for Jerry Cookin radio show. I'm interviewing many people. So all those interviews and my visits, my travels, UFO-related travels, of course, not touristic travels. I'm making a new book with my impressions in United States in UFO community, because I'm meeting many interesting people here.
Awesome.
Yes, so it will be an English book too.
Do you have a timetable on that sort of thing, or we're just going to have to wait and find out?
Well, first, of course, I have to finish the
The fifth book.
Turkish one.
Yeah.
And then I have to polish the English one.
Yeah.
So I will say at least 1 year.
Okay. All right.
At least 1 year.
And you've enjoyed the American UFO scene, it sounds like. You're enjoying meeting these people. And
Oh, yes, a lot, very much.
Awesome.
Very much.
We're happy to have you here in America, and hope you stay.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Do you have anything you want to plug coming up? You said you're going to be at the Aztec conference. Do you know the dates on that?
Oh, yes, March 23rd, 24th, and 25th. It's a 3 days event, and it will be my first time in Aztec. It is one of the crash sites, Aztec crash. So there will be interesting names, and I'm excited to be there. And hopefully we are going to have lots of guests in our conferences.
Awesome.
And it's going to be an impressive 3 days for us and for the visitors.
And what will you be presenting on at Aztec?
Well, let it be a surprise. Of course, I mean, basically, it will be about some cases from Turkey.
Yeah.
But some cases from my own experiences. And who knows, until that date, I can add new parts to my speech.
Yes, it's like
I'm still working on it.
It's like your fifth book. You just keep adding things to it.
Yes, I'm adding and adding. This activity doesn't stop. What can I do?
All right, awesome. It sounds great. And we'll have links and stuff up to the Aztec website so people can find out more information about how to check that out.
Okay.
Farah, thank you very much for being on the show. As I said, I think a lot of people in America and ufology scene are going to be hearing a lot more from you and about you in years to come. And I'm very excited and very happy that you've come to America and brought your brand of UFO research to us and helped to bridge the communities of U.S. ufology and Turkish ufology. Thanks for coming on the show, and good luck with your future research, and hopefully we'll be talking again in the future.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting, and I wish you all the best for your future shows and for your work in UFO community.
There you have it, folks. That does it for this week's edition of Binnall of America Audio. Big thanks to Farah Yildizu for coming on the show and sharing some amazing insight into Turkish esoterica. Lots of fascinating information that I'd never heard before. You can find out more information on Farah at her website, www.farahyurdizu.com. Let me spell that for you, FARAHYURDOZU.com. Check it out. Moving right along now, it's time for Binnall of America Audio listener feedback, and this week's letter comes from Tony. No hometown listed, and he is billed here under the subject line as first-time listener. Here's what Tony has to say. I just discovered you. Great conversation on Red Ice Creations Radio. I've been studying various items from 9/11 to UFO info for 2 to 3 years now, always searching for new and refreshing takes on these things. Thank you for your courage to expose and share your thoughts. Just visited your site, will return soon, and pass it along to trusted friends who share my passion for the esoteric. Thanks again, Tony. P.S. Long live alternative radio. Well, thank you very much for writing, Tony. I appreciate the props. I'm happy that you have discovered us via Red Ice Creations Radio. Welcome to all the great folks who may have discovered BOA audio via the RICR radio appearance. Hope you enjoy the Binnall of America audio experience. And while I appreciate your props, Tony, on my courage, I will be honest with you. I've never really encountered any sort of bump in the road as far as anti-esoterica aimed at Binnall of America. So I haven't really needed much courage yet. But hopefully, if the time comes when I need it, I'll be able to display it in the face of devious powers that be. Knock on wood. And also, thank you for passing along the word to your friends who share in the passion for the esoteric. It's that grassroots word-of-mouth buzz that has helped propel Binnall of America onto the radar in esoterica. If you would like to be a part of Binnall of America audio listener feedback, here are the ways to do it. Go to binnallofamerica.com, click the contact button in the top right-hand corner of the screen. That will provide you with the appropriate information on how to get in touch with me. Or write to BOAaudio@hotmail.com, BOAaudio@hotmail.com. Either one of those methods will put your correspondence on the road to Binnall of America Audio listener feedback. We've got some big news here in the thanks portion of the show. Before we get to that, let's thank the BOA staff. Leslie, Chiron, R. Lee, Joe V., and Ralph Molesworth. I say it week in and week out. There's only so many ways I can say it. They are the people who help make this audio program and the website a reality. Without their help, we would be a shell of what we are. And, as I alluded to, we've got some big news here in the thanks. First, I want to welcome to the BOA staff Tina Sina. She'll be writing the new column Esotericana at BOA every other Monday. Her debut column was this past Monday, Me, Myself, and the Stranger in the Room. It's a little bit about who Tina Sina is and some of her experiences. Tina's keeping me updated on some of her future columns, and they sound fascinating, and I think she's really going to make a mark in the world of esoterica as 2007 unfolds. Welcome to the team, Tina Sina, and thanks for joining the staff of BOA. BinnallofAmerica.com. Make it a part of your everyday search for esoteric news and opinion. If you are a long-time Binnall of America audio listener or an appreciative newcomer and you want to help support the audio series and the website, click the PayPal button at BinnallofAmerica.com and make a donation. No donation is too small, and all donations go towards helping to keep the BOA machine up and running. Click the PayPal button, make a donation, help BOA. It would be greatly appreciated. The next big news, drumroll please, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to BOA founding father Joe V. on the birth of his son, Gabriel Alexander V. I don't even know if he'll hear this. He's so busy. But congratulations to Joe V. and welcome to the world, Gabriel V. Next week on the show, it is a slightly different edition of BOA Audio. It is an alternative history discussion with Paul Shatskin, the author of The Boy Who Invented Television. This is all about the story of Philo T. Farnsworth, a mere farm boy who conceived of how to make television work and happen. Back in the day, before television was this ubiquitous household appliance, many people wanted to figure out how to get it done and try and make television work and get the invention up and running. Philo Farnsworth figured it out, came up with the concept, and we go through the whole journey of concept to actually inventing the electric television. It is fascinating stuff and reads like a Hollywood movie. You've got underdog inventors, battles with the radio media, industrial spying, and in the end, attempts in retrospect to bury Philo Farnsworth and his contributions to television by present-day media types. Paul Shatskin, The Boy Who Invented Television, next week on Binnall of America Audio. The preview will be up at BinnallofAmerica.com Friday. On that note, I got nothing left to say, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Until you hear from me next week, this is Tim Binnall, signing off.